Good. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to this public hearing, this August 3rd, 2026. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I know it's a little warm with the humidity, but hopefully you had a good weekend. So we'll just jump right in. You see on the two topics for tonight, we got proposed map amendment, Tinsley application, and we got proposed map amendment of Highway 93. We're gonna start with the proposed map amendment of Highway 93 lots. And I know Jacob, there you go, hold on, bear with me. I just want to read a couple of these things, Jacob, so you're very kind. You're ready, I like that. Just a reminder, we have ADA hearing devices out here. That's me. Great, I get to hear myself twice tonight. It's not good. Okay, but we do have ADA hearing devices by Jeremiah over here, just as a reminder. And for any comments, please sign in up here by Jeremiah. There's two different sign-in sheets, and he's gonna let me know who signed in for each topic for tonight. And I will talk about public hearing after. We're gonna hear about the first one on Highway 93, and then I'll share a couple of reminders for public hearing. So, Jacob, you ready? Sorry for the delay.
No problem.
So thank you very much. You're gonna talk about the proposed map amendment on Highway 93 lots first.
Yes.
Yes.
So the proposed map amendment for Highway 93 is a rezoning from RM4 to CP2. So if you guys are familiar with this property, it was the one the Mercy Housing, affordable housing, was hoping to get federal grants for to do an affordable housing project. So that's the only reason why we had upzoned it to multifamily, was for the opportunity to do affordable housing there. Since that opportunity went away, we think it's most prudent to turn it to the CP2 zoning district, which is what the comp plan calls for that area. And I think is what we all feel is appropriate for that area as a commercial zoning.
Questions for Jacob? All right, I'm gonna turn it over. Thank you.
And just for clarification, this is not the one on Abel Road. This is across the street.
Right.
I do have, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I do have a question. So if I'm reading the materials correctly, at one time this was zoned RM1 and RM2, then we zoned it to RM4 because of the Mercy Housing and the affordable housing. And since that is unfortunately not going to happen, we are zoning it commercial or CP2 because we have this opportunity to do so, and also because that's what the comp plan really shows. And it's frontage, correct?
This is commercial frontage.
On frontage, okay. All right, thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. All right, so.
Jacob, so the Mercy plan, no chance it's gonna come back.
No, yeah, we've talked with them. That's why it's been this long, is we wanted to make sure that there's no way that was happening. The grant cycle went through, they were not selected, and they're moving on to other projects.
Thank you. All right, just as a reminder for everybody, public hearing is understood to be a forum for people interested in the subject matter to present information to City Council for its consideration as it deliberates an issue. It is not a forum for debate or argument between members of the council, opponents or proponents or each other, and each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes unless the City Council authorizes one extension of 3 minutes. And the presiding officer may just terminate a presentation that's covering the same information as presented by a previous speaker. Such speakers shall be encouraged to simply state their agreement with the previous speaker and bring new information to this subject. So, with that said, you didn't have we didn't designate where people say, yeah, I know. This is your opportunity for, again, the first item, it's actually on the agenda, right? JSCI Property Highway 93 parcels. So the floor is yours. And while we're waiting, just in case somebody's coming, there were none that were submitted through online for this public hearing item. Unless I missed something, Jeremiah. Thank you for confirming. I'll give it literally 30 more seconds. close out our first public item at this time. We'll go into our next proposed, public hearing for proposed map amendment for Teasley application Highway 93 Abel Road lots. And I will, Jacob, you're gonna start us off. Thank you.
Yes. This is 4 separate lots on the corner of Highway 93 and Abel Road. The proposal is to rezone front 2 lots to zone RM1, the back 2 lots to zone RM2, but rezone all 4 of them to CP2. This did receive a negative recommendation from the planning commission, and I guess with that, I'll turn it over to the public for their comments.
I believe,
I
Oh,
have some questions.
yes, what you,
Is it time for us to do questions or to do that later?
we actually have the discussion later on in the agenda, and but if you want to clarify for the
It might,
public.
it
Yeah,
might help to clarify. There's 4 lots, correct? And it totals 0.8 acres,
yep,
okay? And are all 4 lots the same size? 0.2?
all 4 lots are 0.2 of an acre.
Okay, so all 4 are 0.2, okay.
Yep. 2
Thank
of
you.
them front 93 and 2 of them front Abel.
And is that the difference between the zoning?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
And I believe the applicant's here.
Yes,
First,
the applicant's here
Yes.
as well.
I mean, he got the opportunities. That's for,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Cool. So I do my presentation now.
yes.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Tom Teasley. Do I need to do anything or just? So I'm looking to kind of propose the rezone of the JCI Gamble parcels, kind of what we called it. There is a packet that was posted online. Is that discussed here or later? What kind of information packet?
Back at those posts on.
Like the kind of packet that was posted online?
If it's posted on Facebook online.
No, it was on the city site.
If it's on the city
Yeah.
of Clemson.org, I didn't.
Attached to the
I don't
public
know.
hearing, yes. We have
Is
that.
it, is it attached? Okay,
I
attached,
have it.
okay.
It's attached
All
to
right.
the agenda.
I have it.
Fantastic. Boom. So a lot of this is discussed in much greater detail in that packet than what I put up. This is just kind of the listing of the lots. Here's a picture of it. This is from the back. If we look, Highway 93 is on the front. We have Abel Road on to our right. I'm kind of standing on the edge of Curtis Circle. Here's a kind of a survey of it. We just had a new survey done. No changes to that. It's just a little top of the map. This one's a little cleaner. One of the things that we want to note, right, is this was done back in 2009. Same people have owned it since then. It's kind of a land brokerage company that have had it. They actually kind of considered it one parcel from the survey. City of Clemson Comprehensive Plan, if we go in and look at that plan and look at the wording and things of that nature, we feel like we fit very well in the alignment of that plan. As we look at it as kind of a big map from a big viewpoint. We see our city kind of doing some things and we're facing some challenges and we're kind of adapting to those challenges. And one of the things this comprehensive plan is kind of showing what we have done, but we're looking at kind of almost two distinct districts. Right, we have a kind of a downtown district, and it's kind of going out 123. That's really student focused, right? That's kind of what we're seeing and transient type stuff with university and game day and things of that nature. And as we go out, right, as we look toward 93, that's what we consider much more residential. There's a pointer. Right, so we're going up. That's not working the way I wanted it to. But we're going out, right? And if we look, there's a reason why. If we look to the north and to the south, right, that's where people live. Even if we're on the south side, kind of where it says Cherry Road, things of that nature, we hit perimeter, we're having much easier access as residents. To kind of get to that, which is why it's kind of in the comprehensive plan listed. Going up 93, right, it is a huge emphasis on the comp plan as to what we're looking for, and there's a huge emphasis on commercial. And so I just kind of drove up. This is not an official number, this is me just looking at signs and things of this nature. I counted 68 uses as non-residential uses that are already kind of in vogue. I don't really want to get caught up on that number. You might disagree with some of those. You might think there's extra, right? But the idea is there's not 5, there's not 10. We have roughly 60-plus applications of things already going on. And if we look, again, we'll talk about how they're residential type things, right? We have grocery stores and doctor's offices and pharmacies and Walmart, things like that, dentistry offices, things of that nature that are really for our residents. 2 questions that have really kind of popped up that we can kind of address with this type of situation is that A, right, the parcels, right? I think that's a question. There's multiple parcels. Can we make it smaller? It's a fair question. And the other one, and I think it's a really, really important thing, is what about the impact on the community, right? That's a big question that we have. I'll kind of use what we're at now, right? We currently have an application that is very similar to this. We're looking at about a 0.8 acre application now. Our current application is about 0.67, 0.7. So we are virtually the same size. And we're a little tight, if you want to know the truth. We're a little tight. Other thing is and not by design, I guess, but we are eerily similar to this new application process. This one's on a corner lot, which is even better, so we don't have to access the rear. But our current application is on a main road. We have rear access through a community. We butt up to that community, and oddly enough, that community even circles around, right? There is a circle. And so we have tons and tons of data, decades of data to kind of back up what we're going to say and do, and can kind of get into that as why. But we have had nothing but good relationships with our community and things behind us. We have no issues with traffic or any of those situations. So we'll take that and then apply that right to Highway 93. And so the first question is size, right? What kind of size? Can we go smaller? Are we outside or inside, or kind of what is the standard that we're seeing? And so we kind of looked. That coloring didn't go the way we wanted to, but what is red is parcels of similar size or larger. We kind of looked at a 0.65, 3/4 of an acre, and larger. I would say mean size is mostly we're seeing around 1.2 acres. And we're seeing much larger, up to 4, 5, 6. We do have some that are smaller. I'll point them out for everybody. Advanced property management. That's about 0.3 acres. Realistically, it's owned by the same person that owns the lot next door. They're using the lot next door as a parking lot, right? So that's kind of, that's not really. Potbelly Deli, they're one of the great migrations out of downtown, right? They're on about a half an acre. I got a ticket when they first opened, right? I parked where I wasn't supposed to. I'm sure they would kill for a little bit of extra space. Marathon gas station is one. The Focus Realty is another. I'm trying to look and see. I apologize. And on my computer, this was a really good differentiation. The car wash, Valvoline, those are 2 separate entities. They're owned by the same company, right? They use the same entrance, same parking lot, same thing. So we're, again, not to get exact, right, but we are looking at an overwhelming majority of our applications on Highway 93 is kind of somewhere in that acre range. And the reason why is because of what we're doing, right? We're drive-up type situations. These type of applications need parking is kind of what is on Highway 93. Next question, right, is what we are looking at is impact on community. It's a big important thing. What is kind of the standard? What is going on now? If we go back to our map, we have over half a dozen communities that are already on 93, right? What are these applications doing to them? Again, not great. I'm full disclosure, we'll use the Bojangles, right? The Bojangles does not touch any type of residential. It is completely swallowed by the new Harris Teeter coming in. So if it wasn't, then it would have that opportunity to touch. I found 2 applications that did not have some type of impact on a community. And that's the Prisma Pediatric Center, because again, we're butted up to Highway 93 and the First Citizens Bank. We've got the church across it. We've got the university parking lot behind it. Again, I could be wrong. This is me very unofficially just using my eyes and maps to see. What I am seeing and what we are seeing is that we have an overwhelming majority of applications that are very, very similar to what we are looking at, right? So we are looking at our land use map, right? That was mentioned earlier. We feel like we are joined that land use map. We feel like we're in line with what they're saying. we feel like we have like applications, right? We already have pharmacies on 93, so that's not an issue. Our size is very, very similar to most of those applications. And, you know, kind of our impact on our community is very, very similar. We would say much less aggressive actually than most applications that we're looking at. The extra point, and this is what, those are facts, right? We want to look at the facts and data. The extra point I really want to emphasize here is that we as a city are changing. We are adapting. A lot of our businesses that were once downtown are having to find new locations so that we can better serve our clientele, right? We need to get to where they're going to be. Retail, commercial retail space, specifically on Highway 93, which is where we're moving forward, and that is what is important, is extremely limited. I have very specific goals, and it was to be as close to the university as possible, to be on Highway 93, to have certain access points and egresses and things that are kind of more business detailed, but those are the most important things. We feel that we have found a huge, huge unicorn. We essentially have two options. There is very, very limited space, and if it is already commercial, there's probably a reason. And I don't want to kind of get into why, but we have a duty to make sure that our business is successful. We can't help people if we're not open, so we have to have that opportunity. The other thing we'd have to do is bulldoze, right? We're gonna have to get a wrecking ball, and we're gonna have to find something and tear it down. We have now found a lot, right? This is a lot that has had almost 5 decades of non-use, right? At least 20 years of emptiness. And we're able to put a commercial application where we're told that commercial application needs to go. And we're not having to tear down homes. And I think that is a very, very important thing, is that we are able to take an application and put it into an area where we think that we will have huge benefits, huge upsides, and we don't have to tear down homes. Get some land use comparisons, right? So just some of the things, I want to be very clear here. I'm not looking at the building, I'm looking at the paint job. Let's just, how are we doing? So I think we did some things that are really good here. South State Bank, this is, you know, about a block and a half, 2 blocks away. The very next neighborhood, bordering neighborhood, I think these guys do a wonderful job. We have great access on 93. This is almost a mirror application of what we're using. There's a side access road. They have done a wonderful job of kind of putting in landscaping to bring the size of this parking lot down to kind of integrate into this area. They have a back access, right? That right behind this is residential. And so we have that opportunity to kind of feel like we're separating ourselves, but we're not walling it off. So I think they did a really good job. New coffee shop is kind of going in right here on the right, big shopping center right behind that. Shameless plug, I got employees that live in this neighborhood, and the South State Bank doesn't affect their life one bit, right? So do unto others as we wish to be done to us. So we think that's a very good application. A little different aspect here. I kind of wanted to put, we got the neighborhood right directly behind it, but this is something with topography, right? We're looking at, there's a bit of an elevation, and we can show another example later, but I think that this is a good elevation of, if we do 2 stories, which we might have, we haven't got that far, but maybe there's some way we can kind of put a 2-story on the front, a 1-story in the back as we work our way into your neighborhood. Right across the street, right across the street. One of the things I think these guys did really good, it used to be residential, kind of over here on the right, so we got that space, we got that clearance. One of the things that's very important here, I think, is we want to look at the escape of the parking lot to the dentist office. This is a high-touch facility, right? Great customer care. Customer care takes people take parking spaces, and so kind of the size of the parking lot. Little John Coliseum, or not Coliseum, excuse me, Little John Community Center. Right here in the neighborhood, right? We talk about ideas and things that we have going in. I thought I knew what Little John did. Shameless plug, and went and saw it. Man, they're doing great things. They're doing great things. So if you don't know what they're doing, stop by and see them. This is about a 4,000 square foot footprint. We were originally kind of looking at for our space. I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're going to be much closer to the 3,000, 3,200. If we go directly behind that, there is kind of a gym. And so it's the same space, actually a little bigger, but it's a little taller. And so you could look at a max use if we were to look at something as a two-story. Again, that's a step farther down, but that's a really good opportunity to look at both kind of size spaces if we were looking at that. It's an application, this is our application, right? This is Hubbard Young Pharmacy. We've got a kind of a compounding unit built into our system. We have a dentist office and a financial advisor. It's just a lot more for scope, right, of space. This is kind of something we were looking at and that we think we'd be able to do, again, as a repeatable option. And again, as we're looking at that topography, we're talking about very, very similar uses. So this is a possibility. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's a possibility. One of the things that was very, very important, we talked about community outreach. This is from like a week or so ago. Most of these numbers are virtually doubled. So we got government who reached out, civic community organizations. They're not people, they're meetings. One of the things that came out of Planning Commission that I thought was wonderful is that when we talk about, you hear me say if we have questions, we're going to talk about starting points, right? And one of the things that I have learned through this process is that we have very, very different applications. And we as a community kind of only notice the big hitters, plan developments, right? They take a lot of notice. And so we have assumption as to how things should go. One of the issues with the plan development is that there are not a ton of rules and applications. You guys know this, but for the speech. And so we have to do all of these things beforehand. And so required events, right? We have workshops and we have town halls and we have a BAR process that is done well before we have those meetings. It's not that we have we just have a different process, right? We still have those standards. We get done with this and we continue to move forward. We have to go through those extra steps as well. So different steps, different starting points. Planning Commission gave us a really good opportunity, right? We were both parties were waiting on each other to reach back out. And so that gave us a great opportunity. Individual community is over 100. We went and knocked on doors, right? We've hit every single house right in the little area multiple times. We've tried to hit the entire community except for 140 here. 140. I apologize in defense of the dogs. We didn't get there, so we had to reach out to you. So we tried to didn't put it on here. We had a cookout this weekend, right? So anybody, it's just kind of a low impact. If you want to stop by and see us, I thought that went really, really well. And so then we obviously had a digital outreach campaign, which we've had. I'm too old kind of for this, but we've had thousands and thousands of touches and a lot of impact on that. So concerns, right? We've heard some concerns either through discussions or committee meetings and through the Planning Commission. We had concerns, traffic, right? That is one of those issues. Again, we'll lean back on decades of experience in a very, very similar situation, right? And say that we don't believe that traffic is going to be an issue, and we kind of have that experience to say that, but that doesn't mean it's not important. New development going right across the street, right? That might be an opportunity for us. I have reached out, I'm a very, very small fish in a very big pond. We've reached out to the state DOT to see what are the triggering points. Could we get a traffic light, have a standard safe input output? As we get into the process and go forward, we can look at again, how do we egress and signage and walking and things of that nature. That'll bring into safety, right? Specifically child safety. I think that was a big concern in the community. We've got small kids, so that's definitely going to be a priority for us. Again, we can talk about walkways and crosswalks and things that we all can work together and work to the city and again, signage to help with that. One of the things that we can do, and that we've worked at, is if we're talking about safety, and if we're talking about safety specifically in this area, and we're worried about traffic congestion and things of that nature, we can give good opportunities to go somewhere else, right? And so there's a park right down the street. I think the city has done quite a bit of work on it already, but there's some things that through community outreach and stuff we've talked about maybe we can improve. We've reached out to, it's a Rotary Park, we've reached out to fellow Rotarians. We are well on board with that situation. I think we need to continue that conversation and work with the city to find out what is possible and kind of work with the community, see what they want there. But I think that's something we can really work on. And then quality of life, I think that was brought up. Man, that's a great one, right? That is our business model. I don't know if there is a business in the city of Clemson or the state who has a singular focus to improve quality of life, right? It's something that we are super vigilant on. And so those are things that we look at. That's kind of the official kind of thing. I do have two more points real quick, and that is, we've done a tremendous amount of outreach, and one of the things that we are kind of working on, again, is we talk about starting points, and we talk about what we try to do, and it is, if you've not had the opportunity to experience what we do, it's a little different, and so, from other kind of health systems, because that, when we talk about quality of life, that is our priority, and so I can come up and tell you all of the wonderful things, but you rarely believe those things until we put into action. And so one of the things that we sat around and we were kind of curious about it, and you theoretically are whining, right? Either way, but you're like, if they could only see, if we could only show you what we do. Guys, we're here, right? This is not a private equity firm. We're not going to develop something to sell it. We're not a Texas developer coming in. We're here. We've been here for 30 years. And so what we would like to do is we would like to offer what we call inReach. And we want to show you what we can do, right? We want to show you and give you the opportunity to see who we are and to kind of pour into you and to let you see what we currently do, what we've done in the past, and what we want to do in the future. There's some really, really cool things and some laws and some changes as to what we can do in the future. And so when we get done here, I got my two farms, Sam, Steven, if y'all raise your hand, they're gonna go back. They're gonna be in the back kind of room, and we invite you to come see what we do. All right, we're gonna, and this is not a photo op. We expect you to put in the work, right? It's gonna take about an hour at least, and we're gonna pour into you, and we're gonna to show you what we do and show you how much we care, and try to show you some of the things that we're working on. And our goal, and this is for everyone, right? If you're making decisions, please come and see us. Our goal, and we believe this from the bottom of our heart, our goal is that when you get done seeing us, you get done seeing what you can do and what we can do as a community, that you'll know one person that we could help, that we could increase access to health care, right? So if one person comes, that gives us the opportunity to increase access to health care to one person in our community. If 5 of you come, that's 5. If we get 100 people to come and show up and pour into us and let us pour into them, that gives us the opportunity to increase access to health care to over 100 people in our community. And so again, it's as much work as you want to put in, we're willing to go with. Second thing, we have had over 30 years of experience as Hubbard Young Pharmacy. I've had over 15 years and have dedicated my professional life to serve our community. And in our community, our entirety. One of the things that makes Clemson special is that we are kind of a melting pot of ideas and thoughts and cultures and experiences. And I find that really, really great. Sometimes that means that we have different ideas on how things should go. City Council has 7 members, and there are times when we all have the same goal, right, to make Clemson the best we can make it, we have disagreements. That's okay. And so I want us to all take time to deep breath. We're going to get passionate in these events. Let's look around. Let's see who's to our right, who's to our left, who's to our front, and remember that this is a community thing, right? This is not a me versus you. This is not a kind of a us versus them. This is something that we can do, and I think we can kind of use this experience and use this in public and say, whatever your decision, whether you agree with me or not, and we can use that to move forward and do things and get better, right? And come back with a better process and work together to find a really, really good solution. Because my goal is at the end of the day, is that we look back and say, you know what, this is a really, really good idea. What I really hope is that we look back in 5 years. We get through all the build process, we get through the things, we get to really know each other, and then we look back and go, you know what? that. So that's all I have for now. I think we'll have questions later.
Thank you for presenting that. Now it's to hear from the public. And so we want to make sure we dedicate adequate time here. I'm going to start it off. We don't normally do this, but we had a lot of comments. I'm going to read these comments that were online. I recognize people in person, and we greatly appreciate you being here in person. I'm going to read some of these comments. There could be some things you want to come and say, I agree with that comment, or disagree, whatever it is, but I'm going to read these. How many do we have here total? 10 or 15. Okay, I'm going to read these first, then we'll open it up. Just bear with me. That's all I have to say. And then, so, first of all, this was from Laurie Sherrod. This was submitted, Hubbard Young allow, okay, public comments. Hubbard Young allow location on Highway 93. They are being swallowed by huge new buildings and constant construction and traffic making it hard to get to. It is the only pharmacy in Clemson that offers compounds. You should also encourage longtime local small residents at the address of Highway 93 in Abel. Again, Laurie Sherrod submitted that one.
Where's she from?
Am I missing it? Tell me. Oh, right there. 311 Westminster Drive. That's all I have.
Okay.
So, thank you. I will make sure. Thank you for pointing that. Next comment, as a senior citizen dependent on access to Hubbard Young Pharmacy, I support the request to relocate Hubbard Young Pharmacy to another location in the city. I am one of many citizens very dependent on the special care provided by Hubbard Young. Driving and parking in downtown Clemson is very difficult. I realize the overwhelming demand for student housing is making it difficult for the older citizens in Clemson. This is from Wayne Bennett on 205 Stonebridge Drive, indicating Clemson on this one. Next comment, Mayor and members of City Council, I would like to express my support for the proposed Tinsley rezoning application. Based on the city staff report, the request appears to be consistent with Clemson's comprehensive plan, which identifies the portion of the Highway 93 corridor for commercial and office activity use appears to be and encourages infill development that serves surrounding neighborhoods. This property's highest and best use appears to be commercial. It is located among a major corridor and surrounded by a mix of residential and commercial uses and falls within an area envisioned for commercial development on the future land use map. The proposed zoning would allow the property to be developed in a manner consistent with the city's long-term planning goals. A practical consideration is that only the frontage along Highway 93 were rezoned. The remaining property would likely be too small or irregular to support many viable commercial users. A unified zoning approach creates a more functional site and increases the likelihood of successful development. It is also worth noting there are already several properties along Highway 93 where commercial use front the highway with residential properties immediately adjacent. As a result, this request would not be out of character with existing development patterns along the corridor. In addition, approval will provide an opportunity to support long-time local business that has served the Clemson community for many years, helping local business invest and grow and strengthens our local economy while providing convenient services close to residents where they live. For these reasons, the property's highest and best use, compatibility with existing, and the opportunities to support local businesses while providing service for nearby residents. I respectfully encourage council to approve the Tinsley rezoning application. This is submitted by Chris Collins on 137 Ford Road. Next is Linda Law I'll start with who's in the address 224 Brook Street. Please rezone this lot. Hubbard Young is a great asset to Clemson and folks who live near Highway 93 heading towards Central need this pharmacy so they don't have to contend with the 123 College Avenue intersection 93. Next, on 109A Abel Road, Tanisha Harrison submitted this is not the proper place for a pharmacy. It is literally in the middle of a long-time residential community. It's a small lot and a disruption to the residents in the area. Why not take this huge lot directly across Highway 93 instead? Besides the already existing businesses, there are already Ingles, Walmart, and now Harris Teeter coming who also have pharmacies within 1 mile of this area. Next is David Crockett on 820 Alpine Drive. I would strongly encourage you to support the rezoning request to permit Hubbard Young Pharmacy to relocate outside the downtown area. Traffic congestion and parking issues are increasing the difficulty of accessing their current location. The pharmacy is a major asset to the community, and blocking their move would not be in its best interest. Next is Mary Ann Prater, 111 Shaftesbury Road. Please allow Hubbard Young to build on Highway 93 and Abel Road. Next is S. Young on 584 Old Greenville Highway. This business is unwanted in our residential community. We have children that play, walk to church and church events, walk to bus stops for school, etc. This business will bring more traffic that will impact the safety of our children. We wish to let this community remain residential and safe. Next is Mecca Gilstrap on 584 Old Greenville Highway. Our community does not want any business built in our neighborhood. Our kids like to play outside and exercise in our neighborhood. Next is Alan Hodges, 100 Strode Circle. Our home sits at the entrance to a residential neighborhood. It borders the College Avenue commercial zone, a similar situation to the Abel neighborhood interest being discussed. We consider ourselves extremely fortunate to have Hubbard Young Pharmacy as a commercial neighbor. Owner Tom Teasley has always been approachable and respectful. As a member of the greater Clemson community versus an absentee corporate owner, he takes pride in the appearance of the business. Tom is also actively involved in the maintenance of both the building and grounds. The landscaping includes a green space that screens the business from our home's front door. The parking lot has been available to the local nonprofits for fundraising. This is a quiet business whose hours of operation do not interfere with family meals, restful evenings, and pleasant mornings. We also enjoy the convenience of walking to a pharmacy for annual vaccinations and new prescriptions after a medical procedure. A visit is always pleasant and welcome. The location being discussed is experience in commercial development. We recommend council approve this application because Tom Teasley would be a good neighbor. Next is Lisa Bennett. I don't actually see her address specifically, but so Lisa wrote, commercial rezoning is unsafe for our children. I am a lifelong resident of Clemson. I'm not opposed to growth. The city must thrive economically and do that. More businesses must come into the area. Growth can be beneficial if planned well. Rezoning the entire property at the corner of Abel Road and Highway 93 as commercial property is simply not effective planning. Not only does it pose a safety risk to the residents in the neighborhood because the building will, for all extensive purposes, be right on top of them, but it simply doesn't make sense to have another pharmacy on Highway 93. We already have Publix, Walmart, grocery store, Ingles, plus the new Harris Teeter. We'll have pharmacies as well. It would make better sense for this business to move to another location in the city to better service patrons. If necessary to build a pharmacy on Highway 93, there's a property across the street that he can purchase and not disrupt the entire neighborhood. I'm pretty sure that one of the reasons why the business owner wants to rezone the entire 4 plots of land in the Abel community is that the land is much cheaper than the other side of 93. At the very least, the 2 plots of land facing Curtis Circle should remain residential for the safety of the neighborhood kids. The cost of progress should not come at the loss of life, especially a child's. Next is Joel Williams, 108 Vista Drive. The rezoning of a residential spot to a commercial. The citizens don't want a pharmacy in their neighborhood. The safety of the residents with traffic and the taxes will go up. Last one, I believe. And this is Julia Figuroli, if I'm make sure I'm pronouncing it. That's 310 Silver Creek Road. This is not the did I get this out of order? I may have. No, that's not. Let me go to this one and then I'll make sure. No, we already did. Jeremiah, where was, it's actually back to back. Do you don't have a copy, do you?
Yeah.
I may have gotten it out of order.
Yeah, really, I think it was the last one.
Yeah, but I don't have the comment. Oh, number 5, number 6. Thank you. Duh. My apologies. Bear with me, and then we'll open it up.
These things are confusing because they're front and back and they
I
have all
know.
this big space.
Thank you for being nice. 5 and 6.
Well, no, it is. I mean, there's a lot of,
7. I still don't see 6.
there's 2, 4, 6.
Yeah,
Isn't
but
that
that's-
6?
5,
Yeah.
6. It doesn't have our comments on
Can
it.
you tell what Fergoli said?
Oh, is that the top?
Yeah.
Is that
it's
it
within the
right
top
there?
of the, you know.
Okay, support of Hubbard Young Pharmacy move. That's it, okay.
That's it.
I didn't know it was in the
Yeah.
email. Thank you,
Yes, just put it in the
thank you.
title.
Yep. All right, so next we'll open it up. Remember, I know I did just say it just to make sure. I will, thank you. Just remember, this is to hear, it's not a forum for debate or argument, but it's just to hear from opponents, proponents. You'll be limited to 5 minutes, It'll be up here on the one of the screens. Unless city council authorizes an extension. I don't need to read that again, but first person that's signed in, and then we'll open it up after this, we call it Stephanie Platt on 103 Mountain View Lane. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. And yeah, sorry, Stephanie. Bear with me just remember from comments itself, if there were some comments, you can reinforce comments if you don't mind, but if you share something new, if that's possible, but you can also say at the same time, I want to reinforce this comment. So, yeah, thank you. Trying to give guidance so we don't have a lot of redundancy.
Stephanie Platt, Mountain View Lane. I'm all for the rezoning of this project. Pharmacies are considered essential businesses. This is also a business that's been in the Clemson area for a long time. And as far as traffic's concerned, I don't think it'd probably be a problem because they do have set hours and they're not open 24 hours, not like a student housing complex or, anything like that. So I'm all for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Lisa, I know I read the comments, but if you want to add, because I know it wasn't within the 5 minutes, so 126 Curtis Circle. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say that in addition to my comment that I already made online, Abel Road is not a thoroughfare. It's a narrow residential road where our children play kickball, ride bikes, and some of them even learn to drive in the neighborhood. A commercial business with daily delivery trucks and a drive-through will exponentially increase cut-through traffic in our neighborhood. More cars meaning higher speeds. There are already officers posted on Highway 93 across from Abel Road to slow traffic. And it's already difficult to turn from Abel Road onto Highway 93 when the students are here. Just imagine what that would mean for Abel's residents if a business were built on top of the neighborhood. The bottom line is this: our kids are small, cars are fast, and that's a deadly combination. The most urgent issue is the fact that the bus stop is about, I'd say 100 to maybe 150 feet away from where the business would be located. And there is actually a children at play sign directly behind the property. So that is one of our greatest concerns with moving that business right on top of the neighborhood. We're really concerned about, the traffic coming through and some of our kids potentially getting hurt because of that traffic coming through the neighborhood. As much as we want to think that the business traffic is not going to affect the neighborhood, there will be people who cut through at some point. And I'm sure it's gonna happen more often than we think. Under this rezoning, our kids will be standing directly in the path of commercial delivery vans, dumpsters, and increased customer traffic during peak morning hours. We're asking, whose child has to get hit before we consider this a safety hazard? This is a liability the city does not want to be responsible for. Our request is that, we're not here to completely kill this project. We're simply here to save our kids, and we ask that you deny the full commercial rezoning, and at least keep the part of the parcel facing Curtis Circle residential, because it would completely destroy not only the character of our neighborhood, but it will also disrupt the quality of life and the safety for our kids. That's our greatest concern. So thank you very
Thank you.
much for listening.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Next is Don Kiesler on 124 Curtis Circle. You good? Yes, sir. Take your time.
How y'all doing?
Right? Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like for each of you to understand the importance of our community. Over 150 years old in this city. We pay millage just like everybody else. We seem to get the least of the services, okay? The second thing is I drove a 2-mile radius and found it to contain in the near future, if he puts his there, pharmacists. You name me another place where you'll find in 2 miles, 7 pharmacists. I don't care if it's a small city, or I don't care if it's a large one. If you can tell me, I like to hear. But I'm not against any progress. I'm just saying to please respect what our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents expect. Just please respect that. And do it in a respectful way. And whenever something like this is done in the future, come to the community first, so that we can have this kind of input before any decisions are made. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next is Henry Young on 117 Cochran Road.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Henry Chairman Deacon of the Abel Baptist Church. And I live at 137 Rockland Road in Clemson. But we don't need this in the Abel community. I tell you, your city, y'all have spent all that money trying to progress Abel Road with sidewalks, upgrading, with manholes and stuff for us. And how would you tear down what y'all done built for pharmacy? We don't need it to be rezoned. We just need to be Abel Road, Abel Baptist Church, over 100 and almost 60 years old. It's been the mother of the church for years. The neighborhood don't need it. Got too many kids. We don't have a child hit before on 93 and traffic like that. And what? The driver didn't see the child. The child didn't run out there. The driver didn't see the child. We don't need this because something bad gonna happen. If you turn off 93 and he's gonna tear down the sidewalk to turn right back on Abel Road, that was a waste of city money. That was a waste. Think about it. Y'all put that money trying to make us and the neighborhood look better. But we won't be looking too good with the pharmacy sitting right there on the corner turning to Abel Baptist Church. And look how small the road is. Sometimes I go down the road, I have to stop to let a car come past me to get up, coming up the road, or either down the road, because the roads have got narrow. You gotta look, a box truck gonna come through there for delivery. A van might deliver the medicine, but the box truck gonna deliver the products, what they need inside the store. And you know how a truck's set up, the person might not see a small child. And that would be the worst thing the Abel community can ever have, is tragedy. So please, consider us as a neighborhood. And some of these people that done called in, I never heard of them or seen them in ABL Baptist Church.
They don't live there.
They don't come towards our church. And ABL Curtis Circle is not only the community. He didn't go to Vista Drive, Vista Circle, Cadillac Heights. That's our community. That's our church. That is our church. Old Central Road, that's our church. Those are people that live and comes to our church. And Curtis Circle is just not the only neighborhood people that come. It's only about maybe 20 houses around that road. Or 15, think about it. He didn't visit the neighborhood. He just visited the circle. So please take in consideration of our children, our church, the place where they play at, Rotary Park. They walks up there. Somebody be with them, but sometimes young kids want to go by themselves. So consider, the park. Another thing, consider the park where they play at. And I'm quite sure, Mayor, a lot of y'all have been up there toward the park. And you know how it is. You know how, the community is. We appreciate y'all when y'all come. Y'all always welcome. And just consider our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Russell Oglesby on 211 Linwood Drive.
We've been longer than previous. Mayor and members of council, first I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak this evening. I respectfully ask you to vote no on the requested rezone of the 4 parcels of the Teasley property to CP2. I would also like to reemphasize a comment. This is not a vote on diplomacy. It's not a vote for Mr. Teasley or against him. It's a vote on whether to permanently change the zone of the 4 parcels of land. A pharmacy may be the proposal, but CP2 is the request. And zoning, not the proposal, is what you are voting on tonight. That distinction is critical because zoning runs with the land, not the current owner or the current concept. If these parcels are rezoned to CP2, future owners will not be limited to building a pharmacy. They may seek to develop any use permitted within the CP2 district, subject to applicable regulations and approval. Council must therefore be comfortable not only with today's proposal, but with every use that CP2 allows. If a future proposal were for fast food restaurants with a drive-through, a retail center, an office complex, or another permitted commercial use, the question would no longer be whether the zoning of another permitted commercial use, the question would be no longer whether the zoning is appropriate. It would already have been answered tonight. That is why the decision must be based on the zoning classification itself, not on the current proposal. At the Planning Commission meeting, Mr. Teasley stated that he was not asking permission to build a pharmacy, but rather requesting property be rezoned. He also discussed that the property would also be a building that was professional offices similar to his existing development. At the ABL community meeting, which he attended, a direct one-story concept was presented. Mr. Teasley was had every right to present a different concept and discuss different possibilities. However, those changing concepts reinforced the central issue about council. This is not a site plan review, it is a rezoning request. The concept may change, but the zoning will remain. The city adopted the 2045 comprehensive plan, provided important guidance. The first 2 parcels fronting Highway 93 are identified for future commercial development through CP1/CP2. The rear 2 parcels are identified for low-density residential. That distinction was intentional. It reflects the city's long-term vision for encouraging commercial development along Highway 93 while preserving an appropriate transition to the established residential neighborhood on Curtis Circle. The rear two parcels directly face the neighborhood. Rezoning all four parcels to CP2 would eliminate the planned transition and permanently extend commercial zoning further into the established residential area than the comprehensive plan envisions. Although the comprehensive plan is a policy guide rather than zoning itself, it represents the vision the city adopted for its future. When council chooses to depart from that vision, it would do so only for compelling planning reasons. I also want to briefly address the public process. Many residents have expressed that their confidence in the process has diminished. Not because anyone lacked the right to advocate for the project, but because the information and concepts presented changed over time, making it difficult for residents to understand exactly what long-term zoning authority was being requested. Residents asked for additional collaboration with the surrounding neighborhood before the planning commission voted. That request was declined, and the planning commission ultimately recommended denial of the rezoning. Afterwards, additional outreach occurred through social media, individual meetings, and a community cookout. Mr. Teasley had every right to pursue those efforts. However, none of those activities changed the fundamental question before council. When confidence of this process is diminished, objective planning principles become even more important. That is precisely why the comprehensive plan exists, to provide consistency, predictability, and fairness when difficult land use decisions must be made. Good zoning decisions should still make sense 20 years from now, after the current owner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We need to stay, unless city
Can I
council.
have 30 more seconds?
30 more seconds, yes.
Thank you.
That's all I needed to, yep.
Good zoning decisions should still make sense 20 years from now, after the current owners and current proposals of today's discussions are long gone. Mayor and members of council, you were elected to make difficult land use decisions based on what is the long-term best interest of the city of Clemson, not on personalities, popularity, or a single proposed project. Tonight, you are not making decisions whether a pharmacy should be built. You're making a decision on whether 4 parcels of property will permanently be changed to CP2 zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams on 108 Vista Drive. Mr. Williams.
Hello, everybody. I've been a long-standing, lifelong resident of this area. I done seen the changes, you know, and stuff like that, but, this land right here, it was a house there. It always was residential. I remember when it was a house there, you know what I'm saying? So that's the entranceway into Abel. I just think that it should stay residential. It should be made no commercial zone, nothing like that. Keep it the way it is. You know, it seems like to me, what he doing is he running away from his problems downtown with all the crowd. But he's not worrying about the crowd that's gonna be in the neighborhood and the traffic and stuff. So he making that the neighborhood problem. He making a problem by trying to get away from one. That's how I look at it. So I mean, it's gonna make the taxes go up. You know, safety concerns, all these things going on. I mean, and that's just all I gotta say about it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. White on 114 Curtis Circle.
I would like to submit that any commercial building at that location is going to disrupt the peace and the harmony of our community. It's a small community. Any place, any business at that location will be disrupting the flow of traffic to and from the community, because the majority of people in that community live at the connection of Abel Road and Curtis Circle, which empties on both ends at that location. So the majority of us are going in and out right there at Abel Road and 93. Any additional traffic going in and out disrupts our sense of harmony. But in addition to that, a commercial building at that location is the heart of the community, and it's a small community. So this is something we have to see every day as we come in and go out. It does not make us feel better. It disrupts our sense of security, our sense of peace, going and coming from, to our homes. And I submit that we just not have a commercial building at that location ever. It hasn't been there in all the many years that, and I've lived in that neighborhood for 31 years now. And it should not be a commercial location.
Thank you. So those were all the early, well, I shouldn't say early, but people that registered in advance. If there are some additional comments at this time, yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'm gonna put this back over here, sign in, obviously fill in your address. And then I will ask again, if it's a reoccurring discussion item, if you don't mind, please come up and say, I literally validate that comment or not, however you want to say it. But, we're trying to be conscious of everybody's time, but we also want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. So I will turn it over. Yes, sir. I think you raised your hand. Yes, sir. And I'm going to try to expedite. I know Jeremiah's looking at me like, so if you can, if you're planning on speaking after this gentleman, then please come on up and sign towards the end of his comments. Yes, please, yes. So yes. We also have, we want to make sure everybody's comments are heard, but we also have a pretty long agenda night as well. So thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Greetings, City Council and community members. I am known by family and community as BJ Galloway. And today I greet you as Minister Jael, and I would like for you to address me as such going forward. I am 30 now, and I was born and raised in the historic community that the current commercial rezoning application is being considered for. The house that I grew up in is 138 Abel Road, and my father still lives there today with his wife. I also have several family members that have lived in the community and still do to this day. Today, I'm here to remind you that you have a responsibility to protect community interests. And I personally request that you deny the zoning. Our community is a vulnerable community in terms of being able to protect and create socioeconomic developments for our community interests. And this decision to allow building of this property and business into something that does not set up anything for the community to orchestrate its own destiny and continuance of a legacy into something much more evolved. Denying this zoning request, it will force Mr. Teasley to spend more time coordinating with our community for development within our interests, or force him to sell it back to the community. This community has been here since 1868 and is obviously a historical Black community. We all hear about gentrification in a negative light, pushing out historical Black and brown communities and developing commercial outside of original community interests. And on the other side of that is what is absolutely needed, something that is long and overdue, which is things like renovation and socioeconomic development that edifies the community experience and presence, and not just one group of people. And a part of me wants to be frustrated with my own community as to why we have not advocated and developed and proposed for our own interests, but I am well aware of education deprivation and what it means. And what I mean by that is that our so-called Black community often doesn't go to school to learn how to develop our community interests or how to protect and secure our community interests. And this is also an indirect condition of integration, whether you want to acknowledge that or accept that or not. And so here you all are actually here today, caught in the midst of a very politically charged decision, whether you realize it or not, on allowing commercial development from an outsider, which is not the issue, but rather the business model that will not evolve the legacy of this historical community. At no point in time has there been a conversation about ownership or equity interest in this business for the community. And so 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or 30 years from now, people will look back and wonder, how in the world did a white-owned pharmacy get inserted into one of the one and only and few historical Black communities that is here inside of Clemson, South Carolina? Or perhaps you will go down in history as the council that actually took a stand for such a vulnerable community to redirect the opportunity to develop it to develop in that actual community's interests. You may choose to accept this zoning and permit the building, and that's fine. But one thing I guarantee is that every single one of you and everyone else here in this meeting today will have this lingering thought in the back of their minds and your minds for the rest of your life, what it means to me and what it means to my community and what it means to our community with this opportunity to develop this property for the community's interest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank the council and our mayor for allowing us the opportunity to be able to talk and to discuss. Also want to thank you as well, because you've given us an opportunity and a platform to be able to voice our thoughts and provide feedback, which is what you guys are meant to do. And so thank you for fulfilling that. One thing that was mentioned today is that this decision will have an impact. And so what impact, what legacy are we trying to leave? The owner of the property mentioned wanting to be able to look back and reflect 5 years, 1 year later, saying that, oh, we made a good decision. I think our past has showed us that if we only look back, if we only look from one side, if we don't look at the people who will be directly impacted, you leave an avenue for somebody's voice not to be heard. You leave an avenue for somebody not to be protected. So I ask you, while we do want to make sure everybody's heard, that we listen really closely to the people who live directly in this neighborhood. We listen really closely for the people who are advocating for the children that are not able to stand before you today. That we listen really, really closely to the plan that was already laid out when members of your community purchased property with the understanding that certain parts would be kept residential. It's not a vote against the business owner, it's not a vote against the business, but it's a vote about rezoning. It's a vote about protection. So I just would implore you to use your roles and really think about how you can be the most impactful today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeremiah, will you read the names? It says you have the sheet now. Okay.
Hey, Brian Garrison, 303 Azalea Drive. Thanks for your service. I just was gonna speak in support of the rezoning. So I know that sometimes I heard that one say on other planning commissions that a no now can be a different yes later. And so what I think is really important about this, you've got a local business owner that's involved in the community, providing services to the community. So yes, lots of other businesses as well. They're kind of from out of town. So really enjoy that, really enjoy being a part of this small business myself. And so just in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm the pastor of Abel Baptist Church. My name is Cedric Brockman. Had several meetings at the church considering this rezoning, and all the meetings that we've had, a lot of the homeowners was against it. So I've come here as a man of faith and just address you for a few minutes. As a person of faith, I am reminded of the wisdom found in scriptures. Proverbs 29:18 teaches us where there is no vision, the people perish. That community should be developed on one project, and the project that you already have in place. At a time without a clear vision for what will be best served for future generations. The prophet Jeremiah wrote to God's people, seek the peace of the prosperity of the city, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Seeking the welfare of the community means making decisions that strengthens neighborhood, protects families, reflect the needs of those who live there. Philippians 2:4 encourage us, let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. I ask you tonight to look beyond the single proposal and consider the interests of the families, children's, seniors, churches, and the longtime residents who make Abel community what it is. My request is simple. Please do not rezone this property for the commercial use at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Double glasses. I'm getting there.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
First, I want to say thank you to all of you that's taken time to listen to our comments, our heartfelt feelings, not just feelings, actual reality on why we would like to keep Abel a community without pharmacies. I would just want to go, and I don't know if you call it repeating what someone has said, but I want to bring some things to light when Mr. Teasley had spoken on community. It was an insult to our community to perpetrate untruths, to come in and conquer and divide. Mr. Teasley don't even know the whole community. That's crazy. Because Abel community is just not part of the church. It spreads out wider than what he's been to. And I took that as a joke. Anyway, my question is, have he gotten or did any research or have DOT to come in to see about the safety issues? Because I agree right there at that turn, I've been kind of habitual pulling out or someone, almost having a collision. And then when you look at it, you're in a community that I don't see a division of the roads. I really don't understand how he's not secure in bringing Herbert and Young up. Because it's really not a decision. Like they said earlier, the vote should be whether to change it or to keep it or how it should go. I asked him in a meeting that I stated on last time he met at Abel Baptist Church. He had kept asking, and he said it tonight, about he wanted to do what the community is talking about, what their needs are. The community said residential housing. He made a comment to me and said, well, if I put $1 million home there, what you gonna do then? I said, it'd be a home. Somebody would get it. We're talking about keeping Abel a residential community. Yes, the dentist office is across the street from Little John Community Center. And if you look at the roads, how you gonna have, when you go out from Little John, you can't go back to the highway by Riley's. You have to come through down by Little John on the opposite side in front of Abel. Then how is it gonna be constructed to go from that corner lot to go around? It's gonna be maybe a tragedy. He said that he's worked with community. Well, I don't know which community he's speaking of. Now, I do know he's been going from house to house, leaving letters, and I have copies of the letters. But that's not like talking to someone and being straight face, and then telling the truth. And then he stated in his last, before he sat down, he said that he truly have showed us who he is. The communication is not there.
The people have spoken and said they want residential housing. Or at least keep the 2 lots to the back end as residential. Because we know that growth is gonna take place. But like they said, and others have said, that, there are lands option across the street. I don't think the dentists have any problems on the ins and out. And I would say the same thing, that is needed, but he needs to understand, when you talk to community, you can't do it half. You gotta be whole. And he's only done half. But don't conquer and divide, because everybody else that's speaking, including me, I'm from Central. I live in the area, I work with everybody, but don't come in and conquer and divide. That was done in slavery. Don't do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy Weber. And I just want to say, I want to give support to the people trying to preserve their communities. So I live in a community that does have commercial in the front and some around business. And the stress put on me, knowing I might get either a car wash or a coffee shop and you don't know, or they might combine it with something else and make it bigger and bigger. So it's not about what's going to go there. It's help them save what they've got. That's all.
Thank you. I'm gonna give one last chance for any other comments. No other comments? Okay, I just wanted to say, and I'll speak for all, I hope they're okay with me speaking for all the council. Thank you very much for being here to share your thoughts, all sides. And you should never say sides, but just share your thoughts. We greatly appreciate it. It's very valuable information for us to absorb, to take in. I can say everybody on council does their homework, and we will be discussing it later on. If you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome, but we also know that people want to spend their family time. And so, but we are discussing this later on, and reports and discussion later on our agenda. And then the vote would be 2 weeks. I'm looking at Jeremiah just to always validate, but I just want to thank you very much for everybody's respectful and very courteous comments. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. And please, we'll break for 5 minutes and then we'll start our regular city council. So if people, what, sorry. Yeah, okay, we do need a vote. I'm smiling. Okay.
Yes, but John does that.
I know. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. All right, we're adjourned for 5 minutes. We'll start back up about 6:52. Thank you, Jeremiah. Let's go. You ready? All right.
I'm not just a private
Good evening. For those that have already been here, welcome back. The ones that just joined us, welcome to our regular city council meeting this August 3rd, 2026. Hope everybody had, like I always say, but I do generally mean, hope everybody had a good weekend. And we'll start off with the invocation and pledge. Councilmember Smith.
Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to join me in prayer if you choose to. Greeting, gracious God, Heavenly Father. We come before you in this moment, grateful for the privilege of gathering in service to our community. As we open this meeting, we ask for your wisdom to rest upon every heart and mind in this room. Grant us the spirit of respect for one another, for this process, and for the people we represent. May courtesy and cordial mark every exchange, and may we hold to the truth that every voice in this room carries with dignity and worth. Teach us to listen and truly listen with open ears and open hearts. May we hear not just the words spoken, but the hopes, concerns, and needs behind them. Every resident who stands before this council deserves to feel heard, valued, and seen. Guide our deliberations with clarity and fairness as we weigh the matters before us. Let us set aside personal interests and reach together for the decision that serves the greatest good of this community. Give us the courage to choose wisely and the humility to recognize that good governance begins with genuine service. We go forward now in unity of purpose. May this meeting reflect the best of who we are and produce the best of those who call this city home. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So the next item is normally by our Mayor Pro Tem, but she is out. So I will start with public session. Just a reminder, I'll highlight a couple just comments here on just come up when you get a chance, come up, sign your name, address, and then just left, I'll turn back over here. And just please address the council as a whole. Just also a reminder, we have ADA hearing devices behind Jeremiah as he's grabbing that clipboard. So we will open it up. This is for public comments on anything that's not on the agenda. So just that's a reminder. So anything that's not on the agenda tonight, because we'll have the opportunity for public comment then. And we do have the first one. Stephanie, thank you. Stephanie Platt from Mountain View Lane.
Good evening again. I was wondering if the city could possibly start cutting the culvert in front of my mom's house on 107 Compton Street. My husband and I have been cutting it for several years, and I kind of think it's really the city's responsibility to do it since it's on their right of way. Also, I'd like to see if the city could also put a lock on the dumpster at the Pickens Street townhouses. A lot of people that don't live at the townhouses kind of use that dumpster a lot. And that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Other comments?
I'm Ethel Pettigrew. I live at 109 Hillcrest Avenue, and I have a concern. My neighbors and I have been very concerned with the recent construction downtown. Hillcrest Avenue is being used as a raceway, and we know that there's supposed to be 15-mile-an-hour signs up, but they're not being abided by a lot of folks as they come through. I don't know if one more would help, but we would like to make sure it's either bigger, so people see it as they're coming up from 93 and from North Clemson, or some way to stop the speed, because we walk that neighborhood, there are no sidewalks, and we are very concerned that somebody might get hit coming through there. And we know that once the city opens back up the road, now they found Hillcrest, I think they're gonna continue to use it, so, because it's a great cut through. But I would like to see if we can do something about the speeds going through there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other comments? And there were none submitted, so. All right, well, I will,
Can I say something? Can't we respond now to?
yeah.
I was gonna say, Ms. Pettigrew, the speed racers moved from Clarendon Drive to Hillcrest Drive. I know what is, honestly, when you have a road like that and you're trying to walk or just to cross over to the farm, it really is dangerous. So I understand. So, yeah, they could get her, never mind. Chief is sitting there, I won't say something. Get your quota.
It's a good reminder that by the next council member, if we can, obviously, we're here to listen tonight, but if there's some things, and I'll kind of look to the three, between Andy, Ally, and Nathan. I know we have a great team. If we can respond, and we will, we will at the next city council meeting, so. Or you'll get an individual response, so. But thank you for your comments, and if there are no more, we'll close out public session. Next is the possible approval for July 20th, 2026. Would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Gonna pick. Okay, any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll go into reports and discussion. Just a reminder, there's 2-minute limit per speaker. First is discuss a proposed map amendment rezoning of JSCT property highway 93 parcels. Jacob, you're back.
I am. One thing I forgot to mention when we first talked about it was that this one did get a positive recommendation from the planning commission, and all portions of it are shown as being, commercial in the comp plan. So there's no question about board or anything along those with this one. Again, this is the rezoning of the property on 93 on the opposite side of the road from Abel.
It's the
largest.
possible Mercy housing
Yes.
project
Yep.
that did not happen.
Other than that, I'm just here to answer questions.
I do want to follow up on what Windsor asked earlier.
Yes.
I know because we were talking about that being affordable housing, and I don't know what's happening on 76. Are there plans to look at possibilities, because if we're changing the zoning, then we're losing opportunities for affordable housing opportunities, and so
Yes.
that's still a priority for us.
It is still a priority for us. The problem is, by leaving it as RM4 housing, the likeliness is that a student housing developer will come in there.
I hear you.
So, we are, Ally's very involved in affordable housing project that's currently moving forward through the system right now. Again, we did, the part of the middle housing makes a avenue for zoning bonuses just for affordable housing. So you get the higher density by doing affordable housing without rezoning the property. So, we are trying to tackle it as much as we can. We think it would be unwise to leave this set up for, multifamily without any sort of safeguards to prevent it from being student housing or even high-end something. We really, honestly, most of 93, we really don't want it to be residential, like right on 93, just to make sense. It's not
The frontage.
the frontage, exactly. But the one caveat was that anywhere we get affordable housing, we'll basically jump on it. That's the only reason why we zoned it for multifamily to begin with. It's just because it's such a need.
So should an opportunity arise, we could zone it back for affordable
Correct.
housing.
And that's what we discussed at that time, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we
You
did
said we can do that still now.
What?
We can still do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd still do that now. Yeah, if they ever come back to us, we'll, they want to do it again in the future. If, funding changes and somebody comes back to us, we can always go back and try to rezone it. Yep.
Because I know they did something very similar in Greenville in an era that was probably very difficult to develop, and they actually put affordable housing in that particular area. So I don't know if that was the same company or possibly look
I
at
do
that
not
as
know.
well. Okay.
Currently listed for sale.
I I think it's been
Well, I think
for
it's
sale.
always for sale, yeah, I mean,
It's
there's,
always been for sale.
yeah, I think he's always entertaining offers on it, there's
But I
always a
think-
sign out there. Mercy had a negotiated price.
Or option.
Or
I think the main thing right now is not to get student housing out there. Okay, and we're trying to flip it back.
Thank you, Jacob. Unless there's other questions for Jacob, we'll open it up. Council first. If you have any other,
Answer mine or?
yep. If there, no other, we'll open it up to the public. I know you had the opportunity of public hearing, but get a second opportunity. Okay, if there's not, next we'll go into discuss the proposed, Jacob's coming right back up. Discuss the proposed map amendment rezoning Teasley application for Highway 93 Abel Road lots. So,
Okay, so I think we've heard a lot about this one already tonight, but I think everyone's familiar with it, I don't really have anything to add. If you have any questions, this is time to ask.
any follow-up questions from council?
So Jacob?
Hmm?
I don't necessarily have any for Jacob, but.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob. Any other thoughts, comments at this time?
The only question I have, because I know we spoke, and maybe to Tom.
Yeah. I mean, just there, go up.
The only question I want to restate is, I know the concern about the downtown location because of access to construction and the student housing piece.
Yep.
Once the construction is completed, access may not necessarily be an issue. So I guess the question I'm asking is, because Hubbard Young, the pharmacy is still there, since we're talking about rezoning, we're not necessarily talking about a new pharmacy per se. But there's a possibility that could stay where it is. But if it's valuable to the community, would not people still use it because it's still valuable to the community if it means so much? It's the only one that does the compound, and it remains in that facility, in that space. Why would there be a need to move it to another location?
Great question. And so, and that's a question we're gonna have. That's unfortunately, that's kind of step 13, 14, and we're on step 2. Issues with access, specifically construction, are not necessarily short-term, right? We've got a project that is at least 2 years in depth. There are tea leaves, right? I can't tell the future, but there is inquiry into more building, more situations. So the things that we are looking at is, man, I mean, right now, currently, we have 3 out of the 5 roads that are closed, and that is short-term, but, I mean, we haven't had a sidewalk in 5 years. We haven't had access to College Avenue, and unabated construction in over 5 years. And again, we're looking at an additional 2, and we're looking at an additional possibly 2 or 3 after that. We are wide open on our options. One of the things that we are seeing that we talked about is that there is a clear kind of focus on getting students downtown to decrease traffic and kind of having stuff for residents elsewhere. And no matter what, access to most of our residents downtown, I feel is going to be more difficult. Downtown's more of a destination, and we're just kind of going the way that most college towns go, and that's okay, right? But most college towns, they have a downtown for downtown activities, and we have other residential areas. There's a possibility that we could keep our efforts are to put the main focus in a more accessible area, and then decide what we want to do. Do we keep a small a location, right, a satellite location or something downtown to serve this? Because there are still people downtown, and they're wonderful people, and they might like to have access. Does majority of that business transition? We don't know the answer to that. But as we see things, and as we see traffic patterns, and as we see kind of the tea leaves that we see, I mean, right now, if you kind of raise your hand and say, hey, if you're a resident, do you go downtown all the time, right? And the answer is no. And so we are one of the few professions, and there has been a massive exodus, right? And even when we're talking about things at doctor's offices, when I first came here, we had 3 doctor's offices within a block. And so there's, again, this massive kind of just shift and transition of focus in the different sectors.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Cool.
From the public? I know we just had the public hearing, but it's one more chance, yes. Oh, yeah.
And what do? They cater to the students. Index cards taped in the window. Wanted,
I was in there.
male roommate.
I was in there many times.
Hello again.
Sorry.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about was related to some things that Mr. Teasley said a little bit earlier about the businesses along Highway 93. And many of the businesses that he mentioned aren't sitting directly inside a neighborhood. And some of the ones that he mentioned weren't even directly on Highway 93. Publix is more like 123 than 93. So all of the businesses near Publix, that whole kind of strip mall they've got down there, it's not on Highway 93. So I just kind of feel like some of the things that he's saying in his presentation are a bit misleading. Many of those businesses that are located on Highway 93, like I said, they aren't directly on top of a neighborhood. Many of them, like Max Fitness and all of those, the UPS store and all of those, like those are not directly in the neighborhood. They are frontage, but they are not sitting directly on top of a neighborhood. And I also think that, you know, the students downtown also need a pharmacy that they can walk to for those kids who don't have access to a car, you know, for those who actually do live on campus. I understand the issues related to construction, because Abel has been under construction off and on for the last 2 years, and we're gonna be under construction again next year. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Linda Davis, pastor New Hope Baptist Church in Clemson, South Carolina. As you know, there's 3 historically Black neighborhoods in Clemson. And right now, we're dealing with the rezoning of residential on the 2 back lots. Now, I've heard all the letters read. I've heard everyone get up here and speak. Most that are in favor of it are not neighbors. They're not residents in the Abel community. So it sounds like convenience for me, but not for thee. You have heard the residents say they do not want it for various reasons. When you're turning off Highway 93, they've already said there cannot be an entrance into the pharmacy off Highway 93. So as soon as you turn off 93 onto Abel Road, that's a short turn. So if the entrance is gonna be there, traffic turning off 93 may or may not have to stop. If the entrance is gonna be on the back on Curtis Circle, now you're dealing with the children, you're dealing with the bus stop, you're dealing with, you know, a safety hazard on the back side. We want to keep the 2 back lots residential, low density residential. I want to be specific because we don't want to bring in student housing. But we would love to keep that residential. From what I understand, there has not been any for sale signs on those 2 back lots for residential. Had there been, some of the residents would have taken advantage of that, but there was nothing posted. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. Yes, it's been sitting there a long time, but no for sale signs have gone up concerning that. So I ask that you just please listen to the concerns of the people who actually live there, and how it may inconvenience them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, thank you again. I'm gonna next go in to discuss a proposed Duke Energy easement, Meadows Park property. Jacob, you just keep coming up.
That's right.
We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so this is kind of an interesting project. This is just going underground for the utility lines in Nettles Park. So just Nettles Park Road up through to the main building, burying everything underground. And the Duke needs an easement for the underground utilities.
What? Okay, never mind. I'll show my ignorance, but why don't they have that already with the lines?
No, there's no easement in place. And it's not going exactly the same place. Right now, they kind of go out into the parking lot. This is gonna go straight down the side of the road.
They don't have an easement now?
That's my understanding.
Isn't that fascinating? You don't have one really. So this, okay. I won't ask anymore. So this is to bury it.
Yep, this is to bury it and have a permanent easement for the lines.
Other comments or questions? From the public? Jacob, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody from the public? All right, we appreciate you bringing that. Next, we'll discuss a request from the Clemson Area Chamber to temporarily place a sign in the right-of-way that indicates the location of the Clemson's Farmer Market on, well, I'm adding on Wednesday afternoons. So,
Good evening.
Brian.
Hey, Brian.
What's happening? So of course, everybody knows.
Say who you are.
Oh, sorry, Brian Lee. I'm the president of the Clemson Area Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here, of course. We host the farmers market over at Patrick Square. We are trying to expose our visibility. And so we have gotten permission from Mike and Patrick Square over there to possibly put up a new sign. Where they have asked us to put the sign up, it falls in your right of way, which is basically right beside that tree right there.
The tree that you have the farmer's market thing on top of?
Oh, well, I didn't necessarily do that, but yes. It would be more of a next left of the tree, cut straddling the bushes. And, you know, I don't know how far it's actually going into the easement. Jacob, do you have an idea? Because that's not really correct.
Yeah, just as long as it's not blocking the view.
Yeah, as long as
that's
it's
what-
not blocking.
If you get all the way to the edge, you could be blocking the, yeah,
So
I
that's
don't anticipate that's it.
That's the tree right there, and put the sign right here.
Okay, and the sign's gonna be how big?
It's not that
Yeah.
big. That's-
Well, it's
that's
72
not
by
the
60,
scale.
but then how far off the ground is it gonna be?
Big old billboard.
66 inches.
Huh?
66 to the bottom and 126 to the top inches.
And it's temporary, it's just during the farmer market times, I remember reading that.
It will be
It may-
and we will put it in there from May till
To
December,
December.
so
So
it'll
it's-
be into these
Right.
slides that, and that's what Mike over there at Patrick Square is requesting from us.
Sure.
So we can take it down. But that's what I'm here for, is to ask permission if we can actually put this sign into the easement area.
Or the right of way.
Right, I'm sorry.
And Patrick Square asked for the timing.
Say that again.
So you work with Patrick Square on this plan?
Oh, yeah, we've had, the sign was designed by all of the parties involved. They wanted us to match their colors. So yes, of course, and then they have a sign, you can't really see it there, but they have their own sign just down the way a little bit more in their property to tell you where to go to their office.
Can we clarify the height and width again, please?
I understand it.
20 feet.
So from the ground to the bottom of the sign is how many feet, inches?
66 inches.
So it's gonna be up there.
6 feet.
Well, it's at an angle too, so you have to understand it's a real slant right there.
Nathan's got his hand up.
Okay.
So you're talking about the sign?
Six and a half.
No.
30
Six and a half.
6.5 feet, duh.
That's me.
Okay.
So, yeah,
66 inches.
I'm wrong.
Five and a half feet.
I'm sorry, it is 36 inches. Of course, I can't see without my glasses. That's the grass right there.
Yes.
We're gonna be 30 inches in the grass.
That's gonna be lovely. That's a
Okay,
nice-
that sounds like a nice sign.
I should have sent my staff here. I really should have.
Yeah, you really should have.
I know.
You try to block the road, Brian.
Very
Here
tasteful.
it is, it's 3 feet off the ground.
Right, it's very nice sign. I saw it in the thing, I was just, so it's 30 inches in the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. Yeah.
72 inches across, though. That's gonna be a nice sign. Y'all did a good job collaborating on, really? It's a
Follow
nice
their
piece.
instruction, it's them, you know, we wanna make sure that they want it right, but the collaboration between us and Patrick Square has always been a good one, so.
So it will be quote-unquote temporary. I mean, it's gonna be up just for May to
It's gonna be
December.
removable.
It's gonna be removable, thank you, that's the word I'm looking for.
Temporary is the right word for,
Removable,
yeah, but it's
thank
gonna be
you.
removable.
Okay. Takes a village, Brian.
Apparently it does, sorry.
And y'all are in charge of putting it in and taking it out.
Yes, ma'am, we will be paying for it. Signarama's gonna do it. Signarama does all their signs over there. They just replaced the one that I was just talking about. And so, the only thing that's been holding us up on permitting is that we found out where the location was. So,
It's all right, okay.
Thank you.
any other questions?
Any other questions, comments from the public? All right,
Do better next time, Joe.
thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
I think a 20-foot sign would be better.
Next is
Don't prove it, we'll put one up.
Next is discuss a grant agreement to provide sponsorship funds for qualifying events. Andy?
This is a simple grant agreement that allows you to provide the Chamber of Commerce $20,000. That is the amount that you guys have historically been allocating for community event sponsorships. This allows them to gain exposure by taking that and having groups approach them for sponsorships. The agreement includes the requirements for what a qualifying event is. It also outlines what prohibited activities are. And then guess what? It's the same that y'all been using. And once a year, they will come and they will report which events were supported and their impact on the community.
Questions for me?
Will we put out to the people that we have sponsored or paid, done in the past, that they'll know to go this way going
We've
forward?
already done that several times, but I think after this vote happens, we will send them the agreement and all the written things that go with it. And it also gives the chamber an opportunity to call someone to reach out.
So on there will be the time frame of when they can apply for these funds.
There will be a grant cycle.
Okay, perfect.
Sounds good.
Indy, this is a great move as far as it fits the chamber. I thought about one thing. Is this open-ended forever, or do you want to set it like for a 5-year period, and then in 5 years, whoever's on council says continue or not continue? You're setting up as
What I have
open-ended.
is continue until I'm told not to.
Yes, or do you want to say, you want to set a time period? Just food for thought, and as a discussion item.
If it's not working, then wouldn't you, if it's not working, then I would think someone on council would bring that up.
And there's how Brian handled the sign. I mean.
Good job, Brian. No, but.
I didn't want to say that,
But just remember too, he'll be coming in once a year, and at that time, if we need to revisit, or whoever's on council needs to revisit, so that would be an opportunity.
So it would be really.
It's an administrative thing, so we can change it at any time for any reason.
So, yeah, we would have an annual time to change it.
So good point.
Understood what you're saying. I understand what you were trying to say, but.
Other comments from the public? All right. Well, thank you, Andy. Next, you'll be talking about qualifying nonprofits.
This here is a very similar agreement, only this allocates $50,000 to the Community Foundation of Greater Clemson to provide mini grants, as I will call them, to nonprofits who aren't necessarily based in Clemson, but are providing direct benefit. And And like the other agreement, this one talks about what the eligible activities are and what the ineligible activities are. And this here, makes it, I think, much more equitable for any and all nonprofits doing work in Clemson to have access to the same funds some have been getting over the years.
Now, in this situation, their board, I assume, will be the ones that will be making the ultimate call as to who gets what.
They will have total autonomy over that decision.
Right.
But they will report back to council every year what they.
But they'll be the ones that decide, you know, the amount this time versus the amount prior, because there could be changes based on that amount.
Correct.
We may have discussed this, but any nonprofit that's currently getting funding from the city right now in the respect of a building, they could also apply.
Yes.
Okay.
They will have to, right?
They will have to. Yeah, this is gonna be their new way of doing it.
Right.
But I want to make sure I heard that loud and clear. Thank you.
This is also the thing that we can deal with at budget season each year and go up or down or whatever we want to do with the total number every year in the budget.
But historically, would that amount cover it from the past?
That's what we've been allocating historically. I have a feeling you're gonna need to add to it based on what I'm hearing from the foundation. They said that they feel pretty confident that they could go through that pretty quickly.
That's what I was thinking too.
So the current nonprofits that we have in buildings that pay rent, they'll still pay rent,
Yes,
but they have to apply for the, whatever funds they receive currently, they'll have to go through this.
yes.
What did you say again?
That they're currently paying rent,
Yeah,
so they'll continue to pay rent.
right.
So any other operating or additional funds that they may have been receiving, they now have to go through this.
Correct.
And it'll
Have
be,
they've been notified, they know that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
so the board will decide now.
Yes, they were the foundation board.
Yes, I'm sorry, foundation board will decide.
And I think there's been a bunch of communication over the last year or so about this.
It's been more than a year.
Yeah, we're like a year and a half, I think, into the process.
All right. Comments from the public? All right, Andy, you just keep going. Discuss the agency endowment fund agreement to establish the City of Clemson Community Action Endowment Fund.
All right, this one here is the document that we received from the foundation that actually is used to establish the Community Action Fund endowment. Initial amount of money is $974,000 through plan development ordinances. Just to put that in perspective, that's gonna generate about $50,000 a year in gifts. But it's gonna take 3 years or 4 years to get to that point. So the next agreement is what we're gonna do in the meantime until that matures. So we're not gonna put off doing the work. We'll just have a different way of providing the money moving forward through a sustainable replenishing fund. And that's their standard agreement that they've put in front of you. That's pretty much gonna be, there's a couple things in there. On that agreement, I think you could take, there might be several bullet points, but basically this is primarily for home repairs and letting people age in place. Or it can be considered general health and welfare of any kind of community or person who qualifies as having a low to moderate income. But when you're thinking about this endowment, you're primarily thinking about home repair, housing, keeping people in place.
And this is something we can continue to contribute to grow the endowment.
I'm hoping we get many other people to grow the endowment.
And you said it's gonna take.
My only thought about the 5%, which I get that amount, but that amount right there doesn't sync up with the amount in the next bullet, in the next one.
Well, I'm hoping that we can get more people donating money to where we can
I mean, I realize you talk about bridging, and
Right.
I got that, which I understand. And I also understand the opportunity to enhance that based on, I guess, really kind of what we approved in the by right situation not too long ago, as an opportunity to enhance that further.
This is where that money would go.
Where it would come from.
Right.
Correct. So, but the 5% is the way, it's a set, I mean, it's always supposed to be 5%, right?
It's set that way to make sure that you don't go too deep into the endowment, to make sure you don't go backwards and the gifts.
I mean, I
to sustain
understand
the
that, but I guess
investment.
if you look at the returns,
The 5% will be a different number. It could be a different number every year.
okay, because I mean, right now, a 5% investment on me, if I'm getting 5% back on $1 million, somebody's not doing a very good job.
I'm sure they're being pretty conservative.
Huh?
I'm sure he's being conservative.
That's the spend. The idea is this grows as a generational gift to town.
I got it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just talking about the bridging period. I guess is where I'm more concerned about.
So, food for thought, let me get through my whole thought here. I love this plan. I think we talked about it with developers and others, how we could really invest in home expenditures that benefit low and moderate income communities. I would love for us, knowing that the first 3 years we'll have 80,000, hopefully we'll have 80,000 the subsequent years, based on 5 to 10% of the amount. But that much money, I think we would typically spend specifically on housing improvements, like through organizations like Shaw Center. So my recommendation is, if we could tighten this language and take out some things like public infrastructure. I want us to spend this money to benefit low and moderate income individuals to age in place, ramps, homing improvements. So for your consideration, I would love for us to, again, knowing we're probably going to not, within the next 10 years, get more than $80,000 a year, tighten the language and take out some of the generic things that say we could, if you read this list, we could spend it on most anything. And I really would like us to be disciplined in spending it on things that benefit low to moderate income individuals to age in place, specifically housing expenditures. But that is just for your consideration and as a point of discussion.
Something that you can consider doing is, until it's generating much more money than that, it's available for gifts, keep it tight to just strictly home repairs. And then you could open it up later based on its performance to like matching grants for CDBG to provide water lines, sidewalks, bus stops, things like that. That would be in neighborhoods or areas that qualified for that. But that's usually 20% of a multi-million-dollar project. So it might make sense to keep it tighter to what you're saying before, and then as it grows, we can expand what it can be used for.
Because the housing bill that just passed, and Jacob knows some more on this, the federal housing bill that went through relies on CDBG grants, and the zoning stuff we're doing with the middle housing is designed specifically to create affordable housing and be ready for the federal grants coming through. Part of what that does is allow this in some time in the future, when it's got enough money, to be part of creating those kinds of things.
It gets larger.
And correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, but that was my understanding of how that housing bill went through.
Yes, again, it just recently went through the federal government, so how it actually gets implemented always gets down to like nitty-gritty details, but that is correct.
And that would be so that in the future, I mean, this endowment could get much, much bigger and generate money that could possibly be used as part of the community block development grants to create affordable housing, which would also be kind of part of the same mission, which I think was where that was.
So maybe putting your two thoughts together until it's that larger size, and limit it very specifically to home repairs, modification, and assistance. And then have it where it could be.
This isn't gonna take off enough money that's gonna be a match anytime soon.
Not for a while, yeah. Okay. But $80,000 can make a lot of difference to people in home repairs.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
I would
bridge
agree.
account.
Yeah.
Bridge, okay.
Yeah, and the next section does that bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any comments before we go there? Any comments from the public? If not, go to the next section, Andy.
The next agreement is that, what do we do in the interim? You know, the need is here right now. We've been doing these on a very, like, one-on-one basis. This year makes it so it's much more publicly accessible, this information. You will have at least $80,000 in each year subsequently until the endowment grows to the point it's allowing about this much in gifts. The foundation will vet all the organizations. We're not going to allow gifts to certain individuals unless they're sponsored by a nonprofit in some way, but this is basically to qualified organizations who can do this work. And quite frankly, they're better at it than we are at doing the work, because when people have issues with their home, like a leaky roof or a rotten floor, they're not interested in city procurement policies and 30-day bid windows and things of this, you know, so we just allocate this money and they go out and just solve problems.
Make it
And that's what this is gonna do. This is basically the same endowment program. This will be handled exactly the same way. If there's any money left over, it will go into the endowment, and then I'll just pump another 80,000 in.
All right, so if there is money left over, that was my question, was gonna be a question, it will go into the endowment.
Yes.
So it will not be wasted, it will
No.
be used. Okay, good.
Any other comments? Comments from the public? I know the foundation's here too, but I think we've discussed it in the past, so thank you very much. Thank you to the foundation. Appreciate it. So next, we'll just, there are no comments, discuss proposed revisions to the electronic message boards policy. Andy, you're still on. You got two more items.
Well, we have grown since 2016 in a lot of ways since we had this message board policy. We have a lot more, we have better capabilities for how to promote events in the area. So staff's recommendation is just to allow the message board to be only municipal use. And then in our communications department, they have standard operating procedures that address how to handle outside requests for promotion. Very, very similar to what we were using back in 2016, but it opens the door to other possibilities beyond that. Now, what you had before you was a request from First Baptist Church to use that sign out there. I don't think it's fair for us to say, to use their request to be, oh, this gives us this idea to change all this, you know, let's let them use the sign this time and then handle future requests moving forward according to just eliminating this policy, keeping that thing to municipal use only, because we've got so many meetings and things that we're already using it for, and it's not guaranteed that we're going to be able to put your event up there if some emergency comes up.
I think it should be municipal use only. I think we have enough to keep that busy.
We have plenty.
Yeah, and that way is black and white, that's it. And I know the First Baptist asked for this when it, like you said, I think the discussion 2 weeks ago was let them, because of the timing, let them go ahead and proceed, and then after that, we would change the policy or impact, you know.
Yes, because they were operating under the policy and did everything the right way.
Right.
So I know we have a lot of nonprofits that use it. How are we communicating that? I know you said that the requests be handled according to our communications operating procedure. How are we informing all these nonprofits? There's a lot of nonprofits.
There's a list of nonprofits that you guys approved by vote.
Right.
They will have to be notified of this.
This goes, okay. But what's the plan, like?
So many of those organizations, they haven't put anything up there in years. Like Guardian Ad Litem hasn't done anything.
I guess just so they don't get caught off guard, better proactive to let them know this is what we've changed. If it
We'll have
goes
to reach out to them.
That's
and
all.
let them know, right?
I think we can have an effective date that it goes into effect. And then from that, it just let people know from that point on, that's the plan.
They might have part of a marketing plan, include something like that. That's
Yeah, you just did Baptist event as the effective date essentially.
What date, what is it? Because I was
I think it's the
gone.
27th, wasn't it? When was that?
check to see who's already signed up in the program and find out, like, if no one's gonna use it after September 10th, we'll just say it starts at that point.
And didn't we mention or discuss 2 weeks ago that we might, as a city, have other better ways to promote something through our city website or, I don't know, different other publications or opportunities and
Many other opportunities that might be more appropriate or have a better reach.
Yes.
At the same time, we can just keep on going, but at the same time, you're communicating. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see it, but, you know, we can just, same time you're sharing it, is like, you always have the community connection, those other type of mechanisms that they can always be utilized, and then contacting Sarah by a certain period of time. So it's just part of the messaging, sorry, yes.
We have a lot of town and gown discussions, and this is gonna put us in a position where we can't advertise university events. And so I think, and as a good neighbor, that is something to consider as far as, so Mike, I have a question. I think we've gotten a lot of interesting feedback from some local citizens about the legality of this. So to the city attorney, is it illegal for us to let others use this, let others put the message on the sign, as one of our citizens mentioned, that it was not a legal thing for us to? What is the opinion on that from the city attorney? To pick on the
You're
spot.
generally okay unless you engage in viewpoint discrimination. So your problems are gonna come in when you say a group A can use it and group B can't use it. If you have a general policy that says that nobody other than the city can use it, then you're not engaged in viewpoint discrimination because the only view that's being expressed is the city.
There's not a legal reason for us to.
No, quite the contrary. You end up in more legal concern if you're individually reviewing requests on a organizational basis and approving some and not others, or giving priority to some and not others.
Dr. Cheryl, educational institutions are allowed on there. Tri-County Tech, Clemson University, Clemson Elementary School, Southern Wesleyan, they were approved.
We're considering those municipal. So, school.
For the sign, they wouldn't be allowed up there, but they've never asked to be on the sign anyway.
Okay, so that
But
wouldn't
if
be
they had,
allowed.
if there's some major thing in the Brooks Center or something, there's no reason we couldn't help let the community know about it.
Examples, we have on the website a community event calendar as well as a university calendar and city calendar that organizations can submit events to for the community calendar. And then in the communications operating procedures, there's, if it's X, then it can be shared on a story. If it's Y, this happens. So, there are avenues for university events and community events.
Thank you.
Those kind of signs operate on the amount of time you get the message on it too. The value's based on how long it's there, and we have enough meetings and stuff. I think there's a public benefit to being able to keep those messages up about when we're having meetings, when we're having events, what's up for the city, so that the public is more educated about what's happening here.
Well, it's cleaner, as the lawyer said,
Yeah,
it's cleaner.
absolutely.
Because I don't want to, I'm not in that long.
I just like there's other avenues to get these, and it doesn't it doesn't dilute the messaging of what's going on within the city, because if you have numerous messages, it dilutes all of them. I mean, we're not really accomplishing, so yeah. Thank you. Other comments, questions? All right, next, staff reports, last one, Andy.
All right.
Not your last staff report, sorry, I shouldn't say it like that.
I understand, I appreciate
Oops.
All right.
Don't put that.
We have some good news here.
Oh, good news. That's always nice.
I got an email this week that said Jeremiah Jackson is a certified municipal clerk. There's only 35 in the state. There was 34.
All right.
Also 35.
Congratulations.
Well deserved.
We received 4 of our new 11 buses over the weekend.
Ooh,
Just a plain.
from
like
Washington State, right? No.
These might have been from California.
Oh, California, I'm sorry, California.
California buses.
So
They're
there's
plain
West
white diesel
Coast.
buses, nothing exciting, but it's exciting to us.
Well, sure, they made it from California.
I'm gonna make them look good. I remember that the JCUAB kickoff meeting is Thursday morning, 8 o'clock at the Community Visitor Center.
8
8
a.m.
o'clock.
This Thursday.
That's Thursday. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Next, we'll go into policy action. Just a reminder, 2-minute limit per speaker. First, consider second reading a proposed text amendment, middle housing standards. Jacob.
There has been no changes since the last reading?
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
I'm the nerd that found the different.
AMI, yep.
Yes. Which one are we, do you have an idea of which one we're gonna use? Are we gonna use a four-person house, just this number? Do you know yet?
No, I mean, it's depending on how many people are in the household.
So it's a unique case by case?
Unique case by case,
I'm
yes.
so sorry. Case by case basis.
That's correct.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping. Okay. I didn't know if there was just a standard.
No, it's not a standard.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so like even in a rental, your rent is not necessarily the same as your neighbor's rent.
Understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Jacob? From the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the second reading of proposed text amendment, middle housing standards.
Second. Second.
There you go. Yeah, combination of the two. All right, any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Jacob, you're next. Consider second reading a proposed map amendment to rezoning at Hamilton Drive.
And this is the one across from Cat Bus. It's kind of like that little island of land surrounded by the roads. Again, it is just to go from multifamily to light industrial.
This is the gentleman that wants to do the security.
Yep, the
guard
father's actually the
and then
owner.
the small engine repair, right?
That's the
Okay.
one. Yep,
Okay.
yep. And their family owns the property right behind it too.
Right.
They're longtime residents of this area.
Any other comments? Comments from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the second reading of proposed map amendment, rezoning, Hamilton Drive.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much.
I think I'm just gonna handle the next one too.
You just keep Jacob. It says Nathan Woods, but okay. All right, consider allowing the Holiday East neighborhood to install 25 feet of wood fence on their right-of-way of Holiday East. So Jacob, yes,
So 26 linear feet, 8 foot
26, and
tall.
I said 25, so yes, thank you for clarifying it.
No problem. But basically, right at the very end of Holiday, separating it from the commercial businesses, like that plaza that has the Japanese steakhouse restaurant, a couple other restaurants in there. So it's the very end of Holiday Ave. The new house is being built, it's gonna be building a fence kind of to match it, coming up right up, so it's gonna block the whole end of the cul-de-sac.
And my concern 2 weeks ago was about the fence being tied to the person and not the residence. So has anything been done with that?
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
I'm pitching for Nathan Hinkle as well, so. Yeah, so we've developed a new, approval letter with our attorney that will, get signature, be notarized with signatures from everyone there, but it gives no, prescriptive, rights for those property owners. But the letter will be tied to the property and not the property owner, so, hopefully that will remove, it'll be tied to the property and not the owner.
Because they're gonna be responsible for fixing it,
Absolutely.
correct?
So all the maintenance, and the repair and replacement costs, even if damage is caused by the city, the way the letter reads, it would be on the,
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's gonna be, thank you, because that was a concern of mine.
Absolutely, yeah, and, Nathan Hinkle, who had to run out tonight, but he and our attorneys have worked, to develop a letter to address those concerns.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Comment? All right. Any other comments from the public? Okay, we'll recognize that comment. There you go. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the allowance, the Holiday East neighborhood to install 25, or actually 26 feet of wood palisade fence on the ROW of Holiday East. Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next is mayor, council reports, comments.
I have one
Yes, ma'am.
announcement. I will be receiving my PhD doctorate on Thursday, August 6th.
Congratulations.
Yeah, August 6th, so I won't be at JCLAB, but I'll be there, so.
Bravo.
I was actually gonna make that.
I was too, I know. We wanted to say it.
You wanted to say you was gonna bring it up, but
Congratulations.
congratulations.
What are you gonna do with all your spare time?
I don't know yet.
We ought to change your credentials online.
You did.
Other good news? Oh, it could be, well, just any news, but anything else? Congratulations again. All right, any new business? All right, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. We're adjourned. Have a great week.